President Cyril Ramaphosa will today officiate the passing out parade of 1,400 newly trained officers in the Northern Cape. The Kimberley Parade is one of a number of ceremonies taking place this week in 7 provinces, where a total of 10,000 officers will mark the end of their basic training. The President will be accompanied by Police Minister Bheki Cele and the National Commissioner Fannie Masemola. The new recruits come as the festive season is in full swing. Newzroom Afrika's Ziniko Mhlaba is in Kimberley and Siphosethu Booi joining us in the Eastern Cape at those passing out parades. Let's begin with you, Ziniko. What have you observed thus far? It must be a very exciting moment, particularly for the communities in Kimberley.
Right, actually people are already seated and waiting for the new recruits to come out and march and do the official salute to the president, who's expected to be leading the parade here in Kimberley in the Northern Cape. We'll also understand that police office or South African Police Service has been using some bases or training facilities of the South African National Defence Force for their own training because of the capacity which is not sufficient, especially coming from the side of the South African Police Service. So there's been that collaboration between South African National Defence Force and the South African Police Service in terms of exchanging facilities where police officers get to be trained at the facilities owned by the South African National Defence. So this is one of those South African National Defence bases here in the Northern Cape. Actually, we understand that it's one of the biggest in the country. So that is why the South African Police Service outsource this particular place. But in terms of the turnout of the people, I can tell you right now that there are people who have already come out. My colleague Luyanda is going to give you some visuals of some people who are seated by the stands there waiting for the president and the police top brass being led by General Bheki. Cele. We're talking about over 10,000 new recruits nationally who will be passing out. We understand that the first phase of passing out started on the 13th of this month and it will run throughout this week. So this is the Northern Cape leg of that pass-out parade. You also understand that as many, this is one of the bases that has many recruits being trained here. However, when you look at the number or the population of the province, the Northern Cape, there isn't much need of these new recruits here in the province. So we are told that most of the recruits who are trained here will be dispersed to several provinces, to other provinces. So they might have been trained here, but they might not necessarily serve here in the Northern Cape. So they'll be sent throughout different provinces here in South Africa. But also the ones who are trained here are not originally or only coming from the Northern Cape province. They are also coming from several provinces due to that issue I spoke of SAPS not having enough facilities to train those. So some of them are coming from other provinces. They were sent here to be trained. So that's the latest here. We are expecting the president to come through any time from now because the program is set to start at 9 o'clock. So he's in the vicinity, but also people are already seated. So in terms of organization, everyone is set, just waiting for the president. But I can tell you, family members of the new recruits are here, but also people from surrounding areas such as Khayelitsha are already here waiting to see the president, but also experience, the parade itself and the salute and all the official, activities and programs which will be, done throughout the day. So that's the latest. We are expecting the president to come up. We're being led, obviously, by police bread, as you said earlier on, that National Commissioner Masemola, General Bheki Cele, and of course Deputy Minister Madale will be here presiding over this particular parade. So that's the latest from us here in Kimberley as we await for the president to come through.
Ziniko Mhlaba, thank you very much for the time being. Well, on the other side of the screen is Siphosethu Booi, and she joins us from the Eastern Cape administrative capital of Bisho this morning. The passing out parade there, Siphosethu, good morning. That province struggling with the levels of crime, particularly murder. So the communities there as well, this is going to be a welcome initiative by the government that police visibility is most probably going to work in favor of communities there to try and curb crime.
And that's correct, Cele. And you will remember that, of course, just last week on Thursday, we attended the crime statistics in the Eastern Cape province. That's where the provincial statistics report was released. And from what we heard there is that the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro, the Buffalo City Metro, as well as the OR Tambo district, those districts, all three of them, are the most problematic districts in the Eastern Cape province. I'm just going to move out of shot, Cele, because our program is currently underway here in Bisho. As you can see now, all these young recruits, about 834 of them are here, and they are, supported by their families. Speaking to those families earlier on in the morning, emotional and such, Cele, because this is not only a journey that these young recruits took, alone. They took it with their families, and of course, speaking to some of the family members who traveled as far off as Mhlaba, Amakwe, and Flagstaff to support their sons and daughters, and families just saying that this is a big milestone for them as families as well, because these are going to be their breadwinners. These are people that will be protecting and serving the people of the Eastern Cape, a province that has seen a high number of murder cases. And of course, though, the province did say that the report, as far as the crimes are concerned, has decreased, but in the fourth quarter. But the issue of crime and murder is one of great concern. Just last week we visited a home in Danzane, and when we were there, a 6-year-old girl was murdered, and her body was found underneath a bed in the Buffalo City Metro Municipality. And in Gqeberha, just on Tuesday, there has been another report of a 26-year-old man who was shot and killed in an initiation school there in Gqeberha. So the issue of crime is of great concern, but though these new recruits will be coming into a field where people are in need of police visibility throughout the festive season, but it's also important to note that these are breadwinners. These are people that will be changing, the current situation at home as far as the finances are concerned. Many dreams and many aspirations of these parents that are gathered here. Many families are here, and they've been here since 7 a.m. in the morning. So that particular address is going to be taking place shortly, because the program is currently underway, and of course we will be, covering that story throughout the day of the parade and seeing these recruits meet their families after a very long time of only speaking to them over the phone. So today is a big day of celebration, but a big day of great responsibilities for these new recruits here in the Eastern Cape at the SAPS All Saints Bisho Academy.
Siphosethu Booi, thank you very much. Live for us there in the capital of the Eastern Cape, Bisho. And very interesting comments made by the police minister yesterday, whilst Siphosethu repeatedly acknowledging the families who have accompanied these new recruits. For the families, this is an opportunity for their children to become breadwinners, people who support the families. But for the police service, these are people who are not there to enjoy a new job. They are of service to the nation. And so a very stark difference is there, if you like. Well,